Hello, everybody. Mariner here. It's nearly time. I don't know how long we got. A couple of hours. It's the middle of the night here already, Gabe. What's going on?
You've 2.5 hours. We've got 2.5 hours. Am I blurred?
and you're blurred. You've gone all blurred. So you finally sorted your sound out, and now you're all blurred.
Am I better? Is this working?
No. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We can hear you. That's the main thing. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Just want to figure this blurriness out. It's still blurry because it's not blurry on my side.
Turn your camera on and off. See if that works. Huh?
All right.
So anyway, it's probably, I don't know what it is. It's maybe the speed of your internet. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, yes, everybody, we're here. We're doing something a little bit different today in that we're going to do a bit of a team reveal at the end. But before then, we're just going to sort of like have just a general freestyle chat. Just having a look at various things. Gabe, you've got your team on the screen already. What is going on?
There we go. I'm all set. Now I'm ready for the show. Has the show started?
We're ready for the show. So look, we're prepared to take questions, guys. We're here to take questions. First things first, Gabe. In the last 24 hours, have you changed your team?
I did very briefly, and then I changed it back. I changed one player.
Right. You've changed one player in the last 24 hours.
But then I changed it back.
Right, and then you changed it back. I've had one player. I've changed one player too. The next question: are you planning on locking in a transfer? Yes or no?
No, not locking, but I'm planning on considering a transfer. How about that? I have an idea for a transfer, and it's not locked in. And if I want to go through with it, I might just have to take a hit in game week. Here we go. The downward slide starts.
Absolutely. Anyway, where should we start? I think, should we start with a couple of questions which we had, and just whilst everyone warms up, and then we'll say hello to a few people, and then we go from there. So what we're looking for, guys, just to let you know, for a few minutes, is we're sort of like saying, right, you've got A or you've got B. Who do you want? You know, so you're in these last-minute dilemmas. We're all in them. I've had a bit of a wobble on Leicester goalkeepers today, haven't I, Gabe? Little bit. You don't like it.
I don't like it.
But to be honest, the reason is that when we talk about a team of there is a way to just shake my team up a little bit doing that, but I've got a horrible feeling it might make a bit of a problem. But when it comes to single players, right, and I think, let me put the screen up now and see if I can get this thing working. So 1 second. So let me add this, because you just buggered everything up, right? Because you've moved everything around.
I did a little bit.
We'll come back to the code. So the first thing we're going to talk about, I think, is Cancelo against Robertson. We had a question in. Cancelo, Robertson. I'm going to say, or both. Numbers-wise, Gabe, if you were to pick, I mean, we'll talk through these numbers in a minute. I'll just leave these numbers on the screen for everybody. But if you were to pick one out of Cancelo or Robertson, where would you go? Straight off.
Cancelo.
Straight off the bat.
Cancelo.
Yeah. Why?
I would go Cancelo because better chance of clean sheet and better replacement options. Like if you don't go Robertson, there are better Liverpool replacement options than there are City replacement options at this point. After game week 1, I think it might be different. We may learn some things about Foden and the likes. But given what we know now, if I were to choose between these two, it would be like a Cancelo and Diaz rather than missing out on the City asset and go Robertson and Diaz or something like that.
Yeah, the Robertson and Diaz one is, I think, almost too close to call, actually. I don't think either of them are bad picks.
I agree.
I think it's so close. If I was looking at this, and again, you'd probably know what I think. I'm pretty sure I said it on Tuesday. Two shows back now for Net That Haul, since you roasted everybody last night. One of the things I seriously have considered this week, and you'll see whether I've gone with it or not, is Alisson over Robertson to save me $1.5 million. I've looked at Hub, right, and it's about a 3-point difference over the first 4 game weeks. I'm almost prepared to do that to get to, because my big worry is having a hole in midfield, which I need to plug at some stage. And the moment I start looking at that big hole in midfield, then that gives me the terrors, quite frankly. That 8 million hole. I've been saying it all the way through, right the way since we started, haven't we? And I'm really worried about that. So I actually am a lot hotter on Cancelo than Robertson, quite frankly. I do like Robertson. I think he's a great asset. I could get to him, but I would have to do a bit of surgery. I think an 8 million asset like Diaz, would I even take him out? I'm not sure.
And so there's I'm looking at those 8 million assets, just to comment on that really quickly, as that's the place to do the hokey cokey with, because there are so many of them and you can really just ride fixtures kind of probably most of the season. But I think it'd be interesting to see a price value comparison between Robertson and Allison to see really how much you're getting for that extra. And there's somebody in the chat here, I think it was might have been Rob or no, Anthony Chung is saying get both. And yeah, if you're going big at the back, you can certainly get both. But that means that you're foregoing Diaz, and then who's going to be the 8 million midfielder? I don't think it's absolutely necessary to have one, but I think it's going to be really useful to have some stake in that price point.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm actually, whilst we're talking, I've got all my stats on the side, so I'll have a look at that value in a minute. Do you want to run through the numbers, Gabe, just while I look for those values? Let's just talk through these. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do the fixture difficulty first. There's virtually no difference. All right?
Okay. Right.
That's the first thing to say. So what about the rest?
So, I mean, expected goals per 90, again, virtually no difference. XA per 90 favors Cancelo quite a bit, which is interesting. But I think that could change, and this is something to keep an eye out for. I'm starting with Cancelo. I'm definitely starting with Cancelo, but I wouldn't be surprised if his role and his expected assists change with the addition of Haaland, because I think what Haaland the way he could change the team is the creativity comes more from midfield than it does from further back or further wide. So I see, maybe Bernardo Silva or Kevin De Bruyne or even Gundogan when he comes in, kind of like the assist potential coming more from there, while Cancelo may not have the time to even get up the field. And this is if he moves to the right? Right now he's playing on the left, and I think that XA number really drops when he plays on the left. So I'd take that number with a bit of a pinch of salt. I would still favor Cancelo in the XA number, but not by so much. Not 2.5 times more like that. Expected clean sheet favors City. Their defensive numbers last season are just ridiculous. They're close to, I think they conceded 26 goals, and their expected goals conceded was right around 26 as well. By contrast, Liverpool's non-penalty expected goals conceded is up in the 30s, around 37 or something like that, and they were fortunate to face some poor finishing. So I think that's the main one, that you're more likely to get clean sheets with the Manchester City defender.
Yeah, I was a little bit down on Liverpool defensively last year. I actually quite like them. I think they look pretty strong. I think City-wise, again, I don't think you can go wrong. I don't think you can go wrong actually having double both, actually. The only thing the reason I probably wouldn't do double both is because if you want Haaland, you've then got that problem in that you can't get to that midfielder, which will probably emerge. It better not be Mahrez, by the way. I've had too much drama about. Everyone's been taking the piss out of me all day about Mahrez.
I think we need to do a comparison: Mahrez or Mariner. Which one do we choose? Can I just make a quick little announcement here?
Yeah, of course.
We have amazingly, we have 100 people watching us. So thank you for being with us here today. It's
Crikey.
8 in the morning for me, and it's hard for me to wake up. So I'm going to ask you all to show us a little love and smash that like button for us, because it helps us be more successful, to be perfectly honest, if you measure success by viewers and all of that. So help get our word out there, and just hit that like and subscribe and share and show the love all around on this game day. Season kicks off. We're all excited.
Absolutely. It's game day. It is game day. So, all right, last year, I'm just looking at the value. Robertson was, I think, 27, points per million. And Alisson was 32. So last year, Alisson over Robbo. But Robbo's form towards the end of the season was very, very good, wasn't it?
Yep. And I don't think you can go wrong with any of that. All of these is splitting hairs. There's, you may have, you'll look back on it and you may have made a wrong decision in the short term, but that could even out. So it just depends on structure for the Cancelo versus Robertson, I think.
All right. So we've got Simply FPL sending us here. Who was Simply FPL? Never even come across them, have you?
I'm terrible with names.
There'd be a load of spam.
That's awesome. But I don't know. But
whoever sent it is perfect. We're very happy. We're very happy, guys. Welcome to Net That Haul. Right. Okay.
Sam.
Cancelo against Robertson.
It's Sam. Simply FPL.
Yeah. Let us know, guys, who you're on. Are you on Cancelo?
Yeah.
Are you on Robertson? Are you on both? Very, very good question. Right. What have we got next?
And notice that neither is not an option. But if you're on neither.
No,
let us know if you're on neither as well.
Right? Neither is not an option. If you're on neither, you're getting a naught out of your
you're in the wrong stream.
We've already had to be apologizing to a few people from last night. Were you swearing at people, or was Nima?
I didn't. I promise I did not apologize to anybody.
Let's see what we've got next. Oh, look. There we go. Diaz against Mount. So here's your 8 million challenge. This is another question which we had in. Who was the best?
I love that Mount's auntie still cuts his hair. I think that's adorable.
I thought you were going to tell me I got the wrong bloody picture for a minute.
And yes, I get the irony that the bald guy is criticizing someone's hair. Yeah, so I'm a little jealous.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. Even mine, I have to even brush mine the other way now because my hair's getting a bit thin as well. Kieran knows that. These numbers then, Diaz against Mao. This was another great question, actually. Let's start again with fixture difficulty. FPL, our fixture difficulty, remember, is nothing to do with the official. Just for you new guys who are here, we make our own fixture difficulty, and it has Liverpool away in front of Chelsea for the first 5 game weeks. Away in front. And that's against matchups. So that's attack against defence. So there we go. Liverpool plus 3.2, Chelsea plus 1.1. Miles better. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now you look at statistics, game week 33 to 38. Again, Diaz 0.43, Mount 0.17, XG 90, 0.32 XA 90 against 0.23, and 0.61 big chances 90 against 0.17. Diaz, a solid pick. I will not criticize anyone for having him in the team.
So I ran. Hold on, I had some notes somewhere. Can't find them. I ran a little like a value comparison between Diaz and Salah, and they were almost exactly equal from a value perspective. So if Nima and I roasted people for having Mount in their team and not having triple Liverpool. There were so many teams with double Liverpool and that 8 million midfielder spot, and it wasn't Diaz. And I think the word I used was unforgivable. That's unforgivable.
I don't know whether it's quite unforgivable. You're pretty nasty, aren't you? You are nasty.
Sorry, it's my 3rd stream in 3 days, and I'm feeling a little brazen, I guess.
I mean, I'm just looking at the potential value of someone like Diaz over the last. If he extrapolated his points, I mean, this might tell you a little story about Diaz as well. He was slightly overperforming his expected points, just slightly in that period. All right, but he was still 6.54 expected points. Right, expected. Mm-hmm. If you actually take his actual points, which was 7.33, if you project that out over a season, he plays 38 games, he scores nearly 300, he scores 278 points. With a value of 35. That is exceptional value. If he's not going to, you know, what did we joke last year? Was it last year who just got about 400 points? Do you remember when we were projecting it out? I can't quite remember. But no. His value was exceptional, whereas Mount in the last few weeks of the season, really, it was quite a long way down, 19. If we look at it over the season, Mount's value was 21. Not amazing, even that, not that amazing, but not too bad. Mount's time will come in my team this season. I'm quite convinced. Yep. I ain't starting with him. I would go Diaz.
I don't think there's I honestly don't think there's an argument to be made for Mount.
No, I think that's fair enough. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Question here: where's Nima? He's at his
Fest
drinking fest in London, getting blind drunk probably as we speak. So there we go. We can't drag him away from his meats. He loves his meats. That's MEETS, by the way.
Thank you for clarifying. I was trying hard to hold back that laughter.
No, don't, please.
We got wait. What are we? We're 16 minutes in. This is going to be clipped. Nima loves his meat.
Don't be so bloody rude. Right, another one, another little comparison we've got, and this is one which is quite interesting actually, because our fixture difficulty doesn't like Leeds, but I'm warming to them a tiny bit. Aronson looked a real class act.
Yes.
When at the weekend, the pass with the outside of his foot for Bamford was quite superb. Bamford looks like Bamford's made his way into late risers draft. I saw. Not quite sure whether I'd do that late riser, but anyway. Not yet, anyway. But he gets back to his old form. Who knows?
But, I mean, if you're picking Bamford, I guess you're going to have a late rise because you're not going early rising with Bamford.
What we're going to talk
about?
Late
riser. Sorry, hello.
What we're going to talk about is Rodrigo against Bruno Guimaraes, Newcastle, and again, game week 33 to 38. And well, this is no real surprise because I didn't even really consider it Rodrigo until one or two people started talking about him. They're both 6 million assets. Question came in again. But Bruno Guimaraes blows him out of the water, quite frankly. Big chances, 0.72 per 90. XG, 0.44. XA, 0.15. Fixture difficulty, better for Newcastle. You notice, guys, the new ones, it's not as high as it was for some of the other teams. Plus 0.9, so that's dropping. Statistics for Leeds wise, for Rodrigo, 0.39 big chances, 0.19 XG, 0.14 XA, and a negative fixture difficulty. But that might change a little bit. But I think, Gabe, where would you go here? I don't think it's not a massive conversation. I don't think.
No, it's not a massive conversation, but it is. You know, I got Rodrigo in a draft league, and I was really happy with that pick. Got him really late, playing as a midfielder. He is very much involved in the attack, and I love the interplay between Aronson, Rodrigo, and Bamford. I think that and then Jack Harrison with his speed. And I've never been a Jack Harrison fan, but I like what I've seen from those three.
Right.
I like what I've seen from those three, but I don't think either one of these players are players to start with, especially when you have like Martinelli, and you're not going to fill your midfielders with this price point. So put both of these guys on your watch list, I say.
I think Martinelli is just to me such a strong 6 million asset for me. I think it's
just too obvious. It's too obvious.
It is too obvious. It is too obvious, isn't it? I agree with you entirely. All right, so let us just have a. I'm going to put a question up onto the screen now, and do get your questions in, guys, because we're just going to freestyle this all the way through. Here's a question, Gabe, from Heat Fan at Jimmy Bucket 033. So, Robbo, no 8 million midfield and a 5-3-2 with 1 million in the bank, or Diaz, Neco Williams, bad looks of things, and a 4-4-2 with 0.5 in the bank. This is the $1 million question, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
How many? Yeah. Typical. I have you been on a 5-3-2 this week?
Nope.
You've not. Wow.
Nope.
I have been on a 5-3-2. I was just going to actually hunt for my. I put a poll up earlier in the week on Twitter about that.
While you're looking for that, I think there are the way to look at it. People are looking at this as, look, as kind of Robbo versus Diaz, and then whatever the resulting is, the result is, that's how your structure ends up. But I think, if I were just to compare Robbo and Diaz, I would go for Robbo because he's done it for longer. It's like he's so consistent. And Diaz is, he's been there for half a season, right? So
yeah.
So I understand favoring Robbo, but when you look at the totality, having Robbo and that 5 at the back, from playing the market at that 8 million spot, and I know there was, I think it was Anthony Chung that says he agreed with me that that 8 million spot that's where the prices I think are going to go up, and I think you want a stake in that. So it's not just Robbo versus Diaz; it's Robbo with no 8 million, or Diaz and you get the value of Neco Williams. So that's why I prefer the latter, and you still have 0.5 million in the bank. But I can't. If people choose Robbo, if they like Robbo that much, then I wouldn't fault them for that at all.
No, that's fine. What formation are you on, by the way, guys? Put it in the chat. Let's see what formation you're on. The poll I put, 58% of people are on 4-4-2. 32% on 5-3-2, and 6% are with Grady on 4-3-3. Only 6% on 4-3-3. That's interesting, that, because I think that suggests that people are piling the money elsewhere. You're going blurry again, buddy. I think you've got some problems with your internet across there tonight. So here we go. So we've got so we've got 5-3 to 4-4, 5-2-3 from Donny. Oh, crikey, we've got everyone flying in here. We've got a 4-5-1 from Jake Durham. 4-5-1. It's an interesting formation. I mean, for me, my feeling is that the reason I like 4-4-2 over 5-3-2 is that I think that the 4.5 midfielders I don't like them. So I'm probably gonna I want that 8 million slot. I want Martinelli. I've got another player in there without ruining my team reveal. But I just think that I think 4-4-2 is a better structure, and I think it's a bit more. How can I put it? A bit more traditional. And in many senses, I am quite a traditional FPL player, although not always. We've got Ducky on 3-5-2. That's interesting. As well.
3-5-2 makes sense. 4-4-2 makes sense. You're taking advantage of some value players there in the 4-4-2. So 5-3-2 makes sense because you're getting the best value players in the game.
Yeah.
And you're playing. That's your strategy is to play the value, and I get that. That makes a ton of sense, and I have considered that. But like you said, by doing that, I feel like I'm missing out on the upside players in midfield. And that's the trade-off. And each one of these structures will have a trade-off, and it's just whichever trade-off is least unappetizing to you. I guess go with that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We're still on. There's cracker. The chat is going absolutely crazy. There's still another question. Here's another question on 8 million midfielders. Let's have that one from Rob. Kulusevski or one of the 8 million mids? Or one of the City mids, one of the City 8 million mids. That's a great question, actually.
That's a great question. Yep. Go ahead. What are you thinking here?
My perspective is Kulusevski is a transfer waiting to happen.
Yep.
The City mids are a little bit punty in some senses as well. I think it depends what you're really. I mean, for me, look, I've contemplated going with Kulusevski and I've contemplated going with Kane. In fact, I've contemplated going with both on the back of that Southampton matchup, which we spoke about earlier in the week. I really like Kulusevski. He got me a ton of points at the end of last season. I'm just a little bit worried about his minutes. And I just feel that I'd probably be transferring him out sooner rather than later. City midfielders, don't talk to me about Foden. Sorry, about Mahrez. Foden's a better option for me. Not Mahrez, please. Yeah, Grealish, I don't know. And he's also at that price where, because he's 7 million, oddly enough, I switch off Grealish a little bit because I'm thinking, what happens if I get it? If I went for it, what happens if I get it wrong? Then what? I'm taking a hit to get an 8 million player, right?
Yeah. And those players, one or some of those players will be flying at some point. I've gone back and I've starred some of the questions.
Okay.
So I can read them out. I'm up there now. I can read them out starting after this question. So for me, if you're the type of manager to plan a transfer, I think starting with Kulusevski is fine, and then looking to see if Foden starts game week 1, then you move Kulusevski to Foden game week 2, something like that would be a decent plan, I think. But I can't start with a transfer waiting to happen. And once Richarlison starts working in, and I've said before that Richarlison is am I showing Spurs bias again?
Yeah, as always.
Always. God damn it. I want to stop. Richarlison, I think, is going to play that Jota role, and I think he's going to spell Kulusevski. So I don't know. Here, next question. Here we go. Suman MV, Neto or Bailey?
For me, Bailey.
Bailey for me as well. He's the Don Juan pick this week. I think Bailey's a great pick for the first, 3 game weeks or so, 2 or 3 game weeks, and then there are other players you can move to. I'm looking for, but I've soured on Neto because of Jimenez's injury, and I don't think Wolves' attack is just going to be where some people want it to be.
The only glimmer of hope I can give for Neto is that if he goes across to the right, and he does move about on the pitch, if he goes across and plays on the right, he's up against Strike playing for Leeds, right? And there we go. Game week 3, Reece James.
Right.
Yeah. Watch Leeds' left. It's crap.
Yep. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Next question. Be very aware of that. Oh, heck, here we go again. Gabe, do you want to answer this one? Is Perisic a good shout? Well, he's a shout.
I think he could. So I think he's a good shout if you have somebody, if you can bench him, I think. And you don't want to, he's going to come in and he's going to bang. Perisic is going to bang. He might start game week 2. He won't start game week 1. He could start game week 2. I expect him to start game week 3. But if you have a Bailey that could come in for the first 2 game weeks, and that means you already have Perisic. So if you have a certain structure to cover for Perisic while he's out and you don't have to start him, that would be ideal. If you do have to start him, I would not start with Perisic. I would choose a different defender. At that, he's kind of like the only 5.5 I'd want. So I would probably go down to a 5.0 and keep that 0.5 in the bank to plan that transfer for when he does start.
the jungle drums are beating a little bit as well. I don't know if you've been on Twitter since you woke up, but even
Nope.
James at Planet FPL is really worried now. Apparently, there's a couple of team predictions out there which are really not too positive about Perisic at all. And from people who are possibly in the know by what I saw, I'm not going to say you listen to it or not, guys, but what I'm saying is that, there's certain, if you see someone like James at Planet FPL, take note of a team decision for Spurs, who is a Spurs fan, you probably need to listen to it.
He's more than a Spurs fan, I'd have to say. He knows the shit for sure.
Yeah.
But we've been saying,
yes, they're talking about Sessegnon and Emerson, actually.
Yes, and we've been saying it here for a couple of weeks. I've never thought Perisic was going to start the season. So that's been a drum we've been beating for a while. And actually, in a draft league, I drafted Perisic and Sessegnon, and I'm starting Sessegnon this week.
Right. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah,
that's interesting. So as it stands, I think just whilst we're on Spurs, we may as well mention it. Apparently, you roasted Kieran last night for his Doherty pick.
Oh yeah, I roasted all Doherty picks.
Excellent, brilliant, good news. Right, what else have we got? Whilst we're keeping.
All right, we got Rubber Ducky here. This one's for me. Gabe, would you criticize No Salah?
Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, go for it. I've criticized
absolutely. I'm going to criticize it. I mean, you can't win FPL in the first couple of weeks, but I tell you what, you can lose it. I just think he's so highly. It could be. Well, I'd be very surprised if he isn't 120% EO. But looking at the polls I've seen and his ownership.
Best player in FPL, one of the best players in the world, facing a team that is used to possessing the ball. Fulham is used to possessing the ball. What are they going to do without the ball? They're going to concede.
No, I mean, yeah, I think that's fair. And again, I was only saying this to a couple of people today when I was out, when I was at work, that the excuses are already coming from the managers at Bournemouth and Fulham. They need more players. They need more players. They haven't got enough players. They haven't got any centre halves. They ain't got this. They haven't got that. They haven't invested like Forest. They're in trouble. Yeah, that's my view.
Yeah, but I did say to Rubber Ducky, I would criticize it, and I would like to see the draft to see how you've covered. So I would be open to seeing it, and I would criticize it.
I've never seen a bad draft with. They look great, and then you look down and you go, oh, I like that, I like that, I like that. That looks great, that looks great, that looks great. Shit, where's Salah?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there we go. That's why that draft's good, right? Okay,
you come back full circle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, next question is from Sarah Gatsby, who of course is a hauler. Thank you, Sarah. She says, I have Diaz, but then I cannot get Allison. I went for Lloris. Is it a good pick? If I go for a 5 million keeper, I can use that 0.5 to promote Gabriel, but to who?
Yeah, well, these are my. Have a look at my team reveal in a few minutes. That's what I think we'll say on this.
What I'll say is
very interesting discussions. You come in and I'll give you my reasoning later.
Okay, I'll just say really quickly. We'll talk about the goalkeepers later because I think that's going to come up for both of us in the teams. What I will say is that promoting Gabriel with only 0.5 million, I think I'd rather have that 0.5 million in the bank and keep Gabriel. So I think Gabriel is an excellent asset.
He is an excellent asset. I'll tell you what, though, it's like Tom who got the assist, and Tom's got an horrible sense of humour, and he posted earlier on Twitter that he said, "Oh, this is what we want for the Arsenal Crystal Palace game, and this is what he wanted a goal for Gabriel, and he said this is what we're going to get, and it was just a red square." I thought, "Oh no, not a red card," because he's got one in him. He's got one in him, hasn't he? Yeah, for sure. I really like him. I think that Arsenal. Let's put it this way: if you haven't got an Arsenal defender in your draft, I think it might be a hole. I would mark a team down if I was doing RMTs. If I was doing RMTs last night, I would have marked a team down if I didn't see an Arsenal defender or a goalkeeper. That's where I am. What about you?
I don't know. I think you could make an argument to just go the attackers, go Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus.
I know what you're saying. I know some.
Fine.
I think Harry. I think's gone treble attack, hasn't he? Or he was. He was drafted. He was on treble attack. I think that's maybe a bit excessive. I still like a bit of that defense personally.
Yeah, I like it as well.
Okay, let's keep going.
Okay. Well, yeah, there it is. Gavinho, thoughts on Arsenal?
There we go.
Triple attack.
I probably prefer. I think that might be a bit too far, personally.
Yeah, I think so too. This is from Vignesh Piramanayagam. I hope I said that right. So, Robbo and Rashford, or Diaz and Diaz.
I'm pleased you had that one and not me. I'd have got it wrong for sure, wouldn't I? Yeah, that's an interesting one. Robbo and Rashford. I mean, Rashford, is he going to play up front? Is he? I don't know. I'm not a man. I did sort of like mutter something last night about tell me Manchester United fans, is Rashford now? Obviously, Martial is out. I was just hunting around for some quotes with Ben Dinnery, actually. So Martial is out. Martial is definitely out. There was no mention as to whether Ronaldo would play, though, or not. I think they asked Ten Hag, and he wouldn't answer, interestingly enough. Rashford at 6.5, I really like.
I don't like it at all.
Well, the only reason I like him is historically I like him. Not certainly recently he's not been the player, has he? I've just took the question off. Can you find the question and put it back up again?
Yeah,
because I just put the quote up. But yeah, yeah, Robbo and Rashford or Diaz and Diaz.
No, they're both pronounced Diaz.
Yeah, all right, Diaz. Bloody, I'm from Grimsby. What do you expect? There's always going to be something wrong, isn't it, with my pronunciation? I've not got these. This pronunciation like you have. I think the issue I've got with the Ruben Diaz pick is, again, I think if you're not owning Cancelo, I'm okay with it, actually, in some senses, because at least you've still got that flexibility to do something else with Manchester City. And I say I do know some people who have gone away from Cancelo and gone Diaz, and it doesn't kill me. I don't love it. I think for that reason, I would probably do the second one rather than Rashford. What about you?
I'm partial to the second one as well, but it's only because of Rashford. If that said Robbo, and
yeah.
I'm assuming he has Martinelli, but Ruben Diaz is not great value in my opinion. But in this binary situation, I choose the two Diaz.
Yeah, he got me a ton of points last year. Only because I couldn't take him out. I was trying to take him out for ages, and I never couldn't get him out of my team. And all of a sudden, he started scoring points, didn't he? Can you remember that? I was moaning like hell, wasn't I? What was I called it? Pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass. Well, yeah, that was like we had someone in the mini league had that name, right?
Yeah, exactly. What else have we got? We got a few more, and then we'll dash into the teams, and then we'll do the teams, and then we'll go back into the questions probably.
Okay, just. Thoughts on Walker Mariner from Crispers?
Kyle Walker. No, not for me. I think we discussed this on Tuesday, didn't we, Gabe? Ake goes to left back, Cancelo goes to right back, Walker goes to the bench.
Yeah, or I mean, look, that's what I think is most likely, right? Or Stones just comes in at right back. That's based on how Walker played in the Community Shield. I don't know why people are so bullish on him, having watched that game, but so I don't like Walker at all. I much prefer Ake. I think Ake is on the rise while Walker is fading. Personally.
Good old Grady. Thank you, my friend.
Grady says, cheers for the start of the season, all the great content, fellas. And he gives a contribution there for our efforts. And we really appreciate it, Grady. That's super nice. Thanks.
Allows me to spend more money taking backgrounds off pictures and things like that, which I was doing earlier. The things you do as a content creator. Oh, God. Anyway, Right, keep going.
The things we love to do as content creators, right? Okay, here we go. Here's another one. Go ahead. Can you read that one?
Kulu. I got halfway through it and I was about to answer it. Then didn't read the last bit. Kulu, Saka, Mount. First 4 weeks if you already have Martinelli and Jesus. Well.
Assuming you already had Diaz as well, or triple Liverpool somehow.
Yeah. You see, Kulu, I think, is a transfer to happen. Saka, I wouldn't go. Mount, again, I'm not mad on it. I'm not particularly mad on any of those.
I think you got to go Saka for the first 4 if you're doing it for the first 4. You've already got
Martinelli and Jesus. So you're going treble.
Yeah,
you would.
Oh, and then you're not getting an Arsenal defender. I see.
Yeah. I see. That's me anyway. So
I would want to go Foden. So maybe because of that, maybe start with Kulu and then maybe look to now Kulu
Foden.
I think just go Foden.
Okay.
Just go Foden.
Yeah, fair enough.
Could be risky though, right? Because he might not start.
It's an option I've thought about as well.
Ducky says I didn't go with Sal.
No, we'll
out of Discord.
No, we love him really.
We're gonna have some meetings about that, Ducky, and we'll get back to you. Here's the next one from Steve Hamrick. Who do you pair in the short term? Martinelli with Robertson versus Saka and Dean.
Again, another good question. Short. That's again quite tight, actually. I think.
I don't think that's tight at all.
Do you think not? I actually think it's tighter than it looks.
You're gonna go without Martinelli?
No, I'm not. I'm still going that way. But I just think that those left-sided matchups for Villa are quite tasty, and that's why I was going to say, because if people go back to Tuesday and check the matchups for the first few weeks for Aston Villa down the left are extremely good.
They're excellent. Yeah. I mean, but I look at these, I compare the players, Martinelli versus Saka. I want Martinelli. I think it's just much better value.
Cheaper.
Robertson versus Dean. I want Robertson way more.
No, I get that.
Dean.
I completely get that. The only thing we don't know, and we still don't know whether Saka is on penalties or whether Martinelli is, because every time they win one, they take it themselves. So we're not sure on that. So far. Let's see what happens tonight. Well, I won't, because it'll be in the middle of the night for me. But there we go. What else we got?
Let me see what else we got in here.
Should we go to the teams then whilst we're doing it, whilst you're looking for some more?
Sure. You want to reveal yours?
All right, then.
Or mine,
Let's
whatever.
have a look then, shall we?
Just while I look.
Right.
Yep.
So, all right. So, what am I going to do? So we've got Lindsay, new member, by the way. Another new member.
Yeah.
Lindsay, that'll be Lindsay from our wonderful team, which we were all moaning at you, by the way, earlier in the day, saying, this new league, when are we actually going to do anything about it? And you turned around and said, don't start till next week.
Everyone settle down.
Just calm down, guys. Just calm down. Right. Should we have a look then? So let's have a look see where I am. So, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Right. There's the defense on the goalkeeper. So I've gone with Alisson in goal. 5.5. Cancelo. Trent.
That's controversial Gabriel, right there. That pick.
Gabriel and James. I'm very happy with that defense. Very, very happy indeed. It's that little bit cheaper, which I like, because I just feel that I need to put a little bit more money elsewhere. We'll put the substitutes out there. Let me know. Roast my team, everybody. I'm quite happy. Doesn't matter. I really don't mind, because, as I say, I've thought about this a lot. That Robertson and Alisson move, that's that 1.5 million, right? And I just think, for me, I love Robertson. I think he's a class act. I really do. I just think I'm a bit of a value man when it comes down to it. And I know what you're going to say. Alisson's value over the season. I know what you're going to say. But I'm looking at it from a relatively short period in time that I want to make sure that I cover various other positions, you know. So yes, so there we go. So Cancelo, Alisson in goal, Cancelo, Trent, Gabriel for his headed matchups. Yep. So when we're talking about Gabriel earlier on, the reason I really like him is because it looks like, to be quite honest, he's a bit of a monster, isn't he? When it comes to set pieces, and I think he might get one.
Can I roast you a little bit?
You help yourself. I'm more than happy you can roast. I'm going to trash your team, so that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. You're taking one. We're ready for a mutual roasting here.
Yeah.
So you're taking the team with one of the biggest upsides, right, in Liverpool, right? Mm-hmm. And you get 3 assets, and you're choosing the one asset with no upside.
No,
that's the problem I have.
I don't think you're quite right there, because what am I doing? Remember, what I'm doing is I'm creating another spot with upside.
That's
another spot.
That's fair. But from a different team, and the upside in Liverpool is much greater than the upside anywhere else, except for obviously City. So whatever upside you're creating elsewhere, I could argue that it won't match the upside of Liverpool that you're sacrificing.
No, I get that. And it's okay, because I've got a wild card. In fact, I've got an extra wild card this year, so I don't need to worry about it.
Okay.
Right, hang on a second. I did see I saw a question about Liverpool. What I heard was what I was looking for the quote, and I've not got it. Apparently, the only issue is Konate for Liverpool. The only major issue for fitness is Konate. So that might bring you into a Matip direction again, Gabe. You had him last year, didn't you? You're not having him this year.
I had him at 4.9 at 6 million. Sorry, not for me.
Yeah. So, right, okay. Should we have a look? Should we keep going?
Let's keep going.
So
let's see what your midsection looks like, Mariner.
There we go. There's midfield and forward. Actually, I put midfield and forward together. I didn't have time.
The attack.
Phil Foden in midfield. He is my upside pick on the basis of not going. Well, that's my 8 million slot. Martinelli, Bailey, Salah, who will captain. Foden for me is the most obvious of the City midfielders to go with.
But he hasn't started.
He will.
How do you know?
He will. I'm convinced. I'm quite confident. And you know what? As we said earlier on, and I know you're going to turn around to me and say, I still think
it's usually what I say, to be fair.
I am slightly less worried about rotation than I would be normally, given the fact that I expect, even if he comes off the bench, I expect him to get a decent run. It's not the end of the world. I really want them for next week. It's next week. It's that Bournemouth game. I am just licking my lips at it. I can't help but think if I don't have treble City for that next game, then I've got a serious issue with, potential serious issue. So I'm getting ready for that in a sense. Martinelli, I absolutely love him. I think he's an amazing asset. Yep. I think he's really good. I've gone Bailey over Neto to save that 500,000. Mm-hmm. By the way, this has got 500,000 in the bank, guys. And I've gone for Salah as well, obviously. And I've gone Kane and I've gone Jesus. Now, Kane, now look, I know you're going to tell me, right? I know you're going to tell me why you're doing it, but isn't there? I have this funny feeling that Kane could really just go crazy this week. And for that reason, I'm going to go with him. And I have no problem taking him out next week for Haaland. I have no issue. Do you know what? That is quite against how I normally play, Gabe. But do you know what? This is a little bit of a different season with the extra wild card. It's just that little bit different. And if I can just get, I just look at it and I just think that matchup was too good to ignore. Now, how could I do it differently? And I've mulled this over a lot. I could go Kulusevski and I could go Haaland. And then I go Kulusevski, then I go Haaland. So I keep Haaland, obviously, and then go Kulusevski to Foden. That's pretty much, I think we pretty much said this is pretty much a coin toss.
The Kane Holland debate is a coin toss. I agree.
Yeah, Kane Holland's a coin toss. Coin toss. Yeah, there we go. But no, that's the way I'm going. That's the
looking
way
at your
I'm going.
team, and you know what's going to happen. Mars is going to bite you in the ass. He's
going
to start. He's going to score a brace.
You know what? Sure as eggs are blood. Sure as the sun rises in the bloody east, he's going to score an hat-trick, isn't he? You know what's going to happen. Either him or Richarlison will come off the bench and or not in the next game. They'll come and really go crazy because it's always Richarlison or Mahrez for me who destroys me, right?
Yeah.
Every single time. Captaincy.
The reason Foden is. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, carry on. Okay.
I was just saying that the reason Foden is a wait and see for me is because he hasn't played on the right side in a couple of years. He hasn't played there in a couple of seasons. He's been on the left or in the middle for a couple of years now, and I don't know. Like, obviously, it's the obvious place for him to play. Mahrez was terrible in the Community Shield, so it's obvious. Like, he can play there. He has before, but he hasn't in a while. So for me, it's a wait and see.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Jesus, for me, is probably one of the most obvious picks of the entire preseason.
Yep.
So that's where I am. So look, if I get some late news about something might change. But to be quite honest, short of a couple of little bits, nothing much has changed. The bench there. Ward is in at this moment in time. Might come out yet. If I'm still umming and ahhing on that, I can't work it out whether I like it or not. Neco Williams, Andreas, and Archer. Archer because I think he's probably the best of the 4.5s. Andreas probably the best of 4.5 mids. And Neco Williams, a bit of Notts Forest. I may as well have a bit of Forest in my team, hadn't I? And probably the best 4.0, I think. Yeah. I don't know whether you would disagree with me, but not much money on the bench, and quite rightly so. I don't think we need much on the bench because I think more often than not, the players who are on that pitch will play unless they're injured.
Okay. I think it's worth having a conversation about Ward at this point. Between Neco Williams and who's it, Patterson for Everton, I think it's a coin toss, as you like to call it, Mariner.
Yeah, I get it wrong. Yeah.
But I think it could be either one, and we don't know which one's going to be better than the other. So just take your pick there. But here's Ward. So Ward has shot up. His ownership is 20% now. Here's the 4.0 keeper rotation, which we'll get to. But just from if you own Ward, and it could be either Ward or Iverson. I keep thinking Allen Iverson, the basketball player, but could be Ward or Iverson, or they could sign somebody. So yesterday, Rogers said that Ward can be the starter, and he had all these positives to say about Rogers. About Ward. And yesterday, Leicester were rumored to be pursuing a Greek goalkeeper. So there's a month still for the transfer window. If Leicester buy a goalkeeper, you're going to be looking at a price drop for Ward, and you're going to be subbing out a $4 million goalkeeper, using a transfer on that. I think it's a headache waiting to happen. I would advise to stay away.
That's some questions and question marks about Ward. Rogers on Ward. I've got this from Ben Dinnery. You'll have to wait and see, Rogers said. My concern is that, this is Ben Dinnery, my concern is that Ward only returned in a behind closed doors game on Monday. So just be aware of that, guys, if you're going for Ward. It is a little bit of concern. The keeper rotation, I put this on the screen now because I think it's worthwhile chit-chatting. I've seen a couple of teams going with Sanchez. Sanchez has all of a sudden appeared back in a load of drafts with Ward. And that's because the matchups there, if you look at the matchups on the screen right now, you can see that there are possibly 3 teams who rotate reasonably well with a Leicester goalkeeper. That's Brentford, Brighton, and Leeds. So start with Brentford. if you look at the Brentford, you can see the green on the screen, guys. That means positive matchups when we're working it out, by the way. If you don't, I'm not going to go through it all. If you want to come and check out Net That Haul, if you're new, come and have a look at the evergreen content. But basically, the greener the better. So look, you've got game week 2, game week 4, game week 6, game week 8 for Brentford. Good matchups defensively. Fairly good, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, Leicester 2, 4, and 8 are terrible matchups. So that jumps out off the page almost instantly, right? Brentford's average is 2. Leicester's average is 0.2. Brighton average, if you look at Brighton's, and Brighton, obviously, you can see a big chunk where you're going to be picking Sanchez really there, second one down. Brighton's average is 1.5 and Leicester's average is 0.6. So there's a bit more. You got a bit more upside on Leicester when you're actually having to play them than you would if you were playing than Brighton. But Brighton's fixtures are maybe not quite as good matchups as Brentford. And then Leeds is minus 0.3 and Leicester is minus 0.1. So the Meslier and Ward rotation for me is that's one I probably would put third in the choice if I was looking at it. If I was doing that, I would go Sanchez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
If I was doing it, I'm not sure. Is anyone doing that in the chat? By the way, has anyone actually considered going with Sanchez and Ward? Be very interesting. There's some chats here. Here's one. What is it? Theodoris?
There it is. Vlachodimos. Yes.
Who?
Vlachodimos. That's that Greek guy.
I thought he was like a rapper. No, it's Chakademus, isn't it?
I have no idea.
You have a mate called Pliers, I think, back in the day.
I don't know what you kids are listening to these days, Mariner. Question here from our friend.
Correct.
Kendall. Yep.
Yeah, he's right. Kane to Haaland in game week 2. Yes, absolutely right. That's where I'm planning on going. Have we got some comments and chit chat? What's going on? We've got anything in there?
I have starred several questions. We have let's see. There we go. From Bora TV, Aronson or Martinelli, whom to start given the fixtures and why? Thank you. Martinelli's the obvious. I love Aronson. I'll probably bring him in around game week 3. Maybe for Bailey. Do some kind of switch Bailey to Aronson in game week 3 and then ride those as long as Aronson continues to show that he can be the kind of the creative hub for that team. I really like him as a player.
I think that's a good option. It's something I've got in my mind as well. I nearly went with Aronson. Very nearly. And I changed my mind. Went back to Bailey for exactly that reason. I think I want to have a quick look at them. Andy Martin. Good old Andy. It's always worthwhile just reading what he thinks about Leeds. I thought, no, I'm going to hold off a bit. So, I really like that.
Here's a question for you from Max Everett.
Yep. Oh, God. Mahrez. Mahrez, Trippier, Neto, or James Walker and Neto. Oh, bloody hell. Do we have to have Mahrez? Can we have someone else? I don't like Walker. I don't like the Walker pick. I don't mind the Trippier pick. Neto, I'm fine with. Gun to head, it would be the first one, I think.
Look at you! You chose Mahrez. We'll keep it.
No, only because I've scribbled it out mentally in my head and written Foden.
Because you did it backwards. You go, Neko's good, Trippier's good. Yeah, go with that one.
Foden.
Okay. Zizou FPL says, as per fan forum, Foden will share minutes with Grealish on left wing, either 58-minute sub or 30-minute cameo. I think that will happen. I think Foden could be worked back into the right. They desperately need a right-sided player, especially if Cancelo moves over there. He's going to need somebody to combine with. If Cancelo does move over there, maybe Mahrez would have played better if he had Cancelo behind him instead of Walker. But yeah, I think they're all going to share minutes. Fire Talk joined us. Hey, welcome, buddy. Here's one from Tom Jones. Would you rather have Robbo and 0.5 million in the bank and a 5.32, or Diaz with nothing in the bank and a 4.42?
Well, yeah, there we go. We got an 8 million midfielder though. I very much doubt it. I very much doubt we'll have an 8 million midfielder. No, I'm pretty certain he won't. Not with that. Not where those drafts are.
Right.
Diaz with naught in the bank is not. I mean, that's not great either, is it? Not great at all.
No.
My question always is with the 5-3-2s is how are you going to get to one of those midfield assets? That's my problem. And in fact, here you've possibly got a problem with both drafts because not only you might have an 8 million midfield, but then you might have an 8 million midfielder in Diaz, but you haven't got any cash in there just in case you need to do something without a hit. It's a little bit either or. I don't know about you. It almost neutralizes itself out, that one, for me. Robbo with 0.5, you've got to take a hit, right? If you want to jump onto one of those midfielders. And Diaz with naught in the bank, there's a possibility you have to take a hit to do it as well. If you want to move off him. But do you want to move off him?
Yeah, I mean,
what do you think?
Yeah, this one's really, I think we need more context to
it is
answer
difficult.
This one.
I'm sort of like trying to skirt around the edges and give a sort of like an answer it as well as I can.
You could be in a 5-3-2 with an 8 million midfielder, but the 5 in the back are a bunch of 5 million, right?
Well,
with Robbo or something like that. I don't know.
But I mean, most 5-3-2s, I think we probably know what the teams almost look like, right?
Yeah, most teams
we probably know what those 5 are. Probably, like I said, Robbo would be in there, Trent would be in there, Cancelo would be in there, probably James and another.
I think I would, and this is because this is the way I'm set up, so I'm obviously partial to having that 8 million asset accounted.
Yeah, I think I was off it for a while, but then I went back to it just to give me the flexibility. So Foden might not be the right one. It's okay. It's fine. It doesn't matter. We just sort it out. We've got to. You go with what you know, and if it's not right, then you move on, right?
Right. Okay. Next question from Steve. I'm taking Perisic out. Do I replace him with Ake or Cash/Ding?
Dinge.
Dinge. I like that. Dingy.
Luca Dinge.
Luca Dingy. That's awesome. I like Ake, but he is a risk. I think he's not a risk as much of a risk as people think. So I think it depends if you have if you have Cancelo. If you have Cancelo, I might go for Dinge. If you don't have Cancelo, you should get Cancelo.
I would go Dinge.
Dinge. All right.
Yeah, I would go Dean. But there's another one who's trolled me over the years. I'm not sure. I don't think he made it into a single draft of mine. I don't mind talking about him, but he never made it into a draft.
I might have put him in briefly, but next question from Chris. With your lineup, would like to hear the thinking on Ederson and Diaz versus Alisson and Foden.
Yeah, I think as much as that is that I really want that third City. I want 2 City attackers for game week 2. And I think if I had Diaz, I probably wouldn't be moving away. I'd find it very difficult to move away from him. Once I'd got Diaz in my team, I would really struggle with that. Ederson, I feel, is a bit of he makes it a little bit inflexible for me by going Ederson.
I think Ederson is a great pick. And
I'm not saying it's a bad pick. I'm just saying I think he just makes things a little bit inflexible, especially with a team like City where you're really not sure who you've got to go and get, right?
Yeah. So he's a bit of a cockblock for getting that second City attacker.
Yeah.
But Ederson, but it's a great pick. Let's see. Any more questions?
Well, do we think there's one? There's one there as well. Let's put that one up, and then we'll go for your team, and we'll talk about your team. Do we think Jesus is a better pick than an 8 million midfielder? Another Gabe. Jesus a better pick than an 8 million mid.
I don't know about better. I would change the word better. Jesus is a more necessary pick than an 8 million mid because of the ownership.
I like that word, necessary. Well, he is. What's his ownership? 75%?
Yeah. So FPL will not be fun if I don't think if you don't own Jesus, unfortunately.
Horrendous. 75%, for God's sake. That's ridiculous. Should we put your team up on the screen and then we'll chit chat a bit about yours?
Sure.
Do you want to pop it up? You've got the controls there. You can do that.
I got the controls. Add to stream. Let me. Okay. There we are. All right. Everyone's in there. So my team, I have not designed my kit yet. Please do not crucify me. Hibbo would have me on a my head on a spike right now.
You would. Your head would be on a spike.
My head would be on a spike if Hibbo were here right now. you gotta do your kits, everyone, or else Hibbo's coming after you. So I'm in a 4-4-2 as well. I have Lloris in goal, Trent, James, Gabriel, and Cancelo. So I went from Lloris to this was the change I made yesterday. I went from Lloris to Ederson because I do want triple City, and I think Ederson is a great pick. But I want the flexibility to potentially go Luis Diaz, who's in my midfield, to Foden. A lot of people are going Kane to Holland. I think Luis Diaz to Foden could be an interesting way to go, and that's something that I'll just keep an eye on. So I don't want to lock myself into the 3 City to start. And I also want Spurs, some kind of Spurs coverage. And I don't have any Spurs in my team, so I thought Lloris would be kind of like a safe way to go. Let's see. My midfield, Luis Diaz, Bailey, Salah, and Martinelli, just like your midfield. And then up front, I have Holland and Jesus. I had Kane for over a week, and 2 days ago, I went to Holland. And I'm still uncertain. I just think that Spurs are going to be facing. Here we go. We need to I think I need to introduce what I say about Spurs with the bias caveat. Spurs, I think, will be facing some deep blocks in the first couple of game weeks. They face Southampton, whom they lost to, or they drew 1-1. And then they lost to them 3-2 at home. Spurs have last season had a really tough time breaking down a deep block. And I think that's what Perisic was brought in to do with his shot creating actions. He's a great passer, but he won't be playing. He won't be playing this game. And so that's kind of why I've gone with Holland. And then the other reason I've gone with Holland over Kane is because of the NetxG numbers.
So you're following your calculations and I'm following mine.
Exactly. I think, yeah, fair enough. We'll see who comes out after game week 1.
Why Lloris? Just do you want some Spurs cover?
I want some Spurs cover. And then the other options are, like, for 5 million, I prefer Gabriel to Ramsdale because of the goal threat initially at the beginning of the season. So Ramsdale was out. Ederson is out because I want the flexibility for City. I don't want to double up on Chelsea defense. And Lloris is just kind of, he falls into that spot, right?
Not a bad pick at all. I quite like it. He's been in my draft. I'll tell you what I do really like about this, and we've got the same players, the 3 Gs, the 3 Gabriels.
Yes. Well, I have to have. That's the other thing. I have to have that.
Yeah.
Of
course you do, because that's your name as well. I'm surprised I'm surprised you've not got that into your team name yet. I'll tell you why I like them. I actually think, me, I love my combinations. Last year, start of the season, Antonio and Benrahma. I see Martinelli assisting Jesus or Gabriel in the first couple of game weeks, almost certainly. Either set piece or just the Brazilian maestros doing something down that left-hand side, right? They look super. They look like they're linking up really, really well. But I also see that Martinelli's on corners as well, and that then brings Gabriel into it. So I can see the opportunity for a double return there with those 3. I really can. I really like the look of Bailey. I think I've got that slight doubt about his minutes, but if Gerrard doesn't play him, then he's even worse than you think, right?
Who? Bailey?
Yeah, if Gerrard doesn't play him, is even worse than you think, right? You have a lot of
If
time.
Gerrard doesn't play
anyway, right?
Bailey, Gerrard and Lampard are the same kind of managers.
Yeah. I'd love to know your thinking. Are you willing to take Diaz out, though? That's my question, because that's something that I've been mulling over a lot. For me, they're playing Palace at home, right? Game week 2, and Palace are not bad on the match on the fixture difficulty, right? Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Palace defense has been fairly solid last season. It's not the easiest of matchups, I would say, but then they've got United, and then I think they've got Bournemouth off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So you're going
this
back
is what
to
I was saying about the hokey cokey.
You're prepared to jump around. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's. So I'm not locked into this strategy, but I'm seriously considering, Luis Diaz to Foden, back to Luis Diaz, maybe to Mount, maybe and jumping around that price point and hopefully riding the points and the price increases if I time it right. I'm not locked into that because, selling Luis Diaz before their home opener could be just really stupid. It might just be dumb. So, yeah. But it's at least I have that option, right?
I mean, look, for me, the reason why I think we're all thinking of this jumping around and, potentially locking ourselves potentially into moves in game week 2 is because the matchups are just potentially just so good. And I think this is, to me, it's almost a bit of a gift. It looks like a bit of a gift, that Bournemouth game. It looks really, really juicy.
Yep.
A bit like the Southampton game, quite frankly. I still think that, I would. I did, the little hit devil, which sits on my shoulder every now and again. It did at the end of last season, didn't it? I took loads of hits. That little hit devil did actually cross my mind of going Kulu and Kane, and then going to Foden and Haaland in game week 2. It's been in my mind. It's been on my mind. I haven't done it. I've tempered it.
There's
I like the team.
There's a comment here.
I really do.
Thanks. It's somewhat template with a couple. Yeah, people are saying Ramsdale or Ederson over Loris, and I mean, I agree. I think
who would he take Gabriel out for, though? Because he'd probably taken Gabriel out then, aren't you?
Well, here's the thing. Like, when I consider that, I think Ramsdale is the best keeper to have, right? But I think the difference between Ramsdale and Loris is less than the difference between Gabriel and his replacement option, which could be somebody like Trippier or it could be Dean or someone like that. I just think Loris he gets bonus points and he gets save points as well as a premium keeper.
It's the only hole I can find in my team is no Spurs defense. Honestly, I look at it.
Right.
That's my hole. Everyone's got one hole in the team. I don't think you can physically bridge them all. So it's nearly impossible. But no, that was my hole. Yeah. It would have been covered by Perisic, but of course I've gone away from that now. Anyway, good. Nice
question
team.
From Lindsay. Gabe, I like the possibility of a mid-transfer to City for week 2. I also like Mariners' plan of Kane to Holland. Decisions. So everyone's thinking, right, of going from one spot to a City spot for game week 2. You're
broken up. Oh dear. Are you there?
My internet's bad today. I apologize.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Sorry, you're back now.
Yeah, it's pretty bad today. Apologies for that.
It's all right. No problem. So you didn't answer it. You didn't get the whole answer out. So do you want to just quickly finish that off?
Oh, right. So, I mean, everybody's, you're questioning, like, am I really going to want to move off of Luis Diaz in game week 2? And for people that are on Kane, the same question applies, right? Are you really going to want to move off Kane, given how good his fixtures are after Chelsea? Or if Chelsea come out and Everton score 2 on them, then maybe that Chelsea aren't so good, right? Because they're bringing in a bunch of players and they haven't been settled yet, and preseason has sucked for them. So no matter which way you go, no matter what player you're moving out to bring a City player in for game week 2, there's some risk there. So my risk is Luis Diaz, but it's part of a greater strategy of bounce.
Oh my goodness, we've got problems with this signal.
Okay, give me one second.
Yeah, I think it's all right. Don't worry. Right, I'll just carry on. So, all right. Whilst we're looking at these, whilst he's just messing around with his internet. Right, let me see what I can find. Find some more questions. Firetog, Melier, Sanchez rotation. So Firetog's a member. As I said, I didn't necessarily. Let me just put that back on the screen. Look. You'll see that it doesn't look too great. Are you back, Gabe? Maybe not. Let me keep going. Are you back? Okay, that's good. Kevin, I have a tradition of going bench boost game week 1. It's the tradition. It's irrational, but hey, yeah, probably is. But he's a member, so we can't abuse him. Best 5.5 million or below option in midfield for game week 1, other than Neto and Bailey. Other than best 5.5 or below, who have we got?
We have Aronson.
Yes.
I really
Dewsbury
like
Hall.
Aronson, but...
Dewsbury Hall. 5.
Yeah, KDH. I think possibly. He's
decent pre-season. Yeah, I quite like that. Maybe Dewsbury Hall or Aronson. Maybe Aronson's a bit more.
I would go with Aronson.
Like watching weight.
Yeah, I prefer Aronson to Dewsbury Hall. I don't like what's going on with Leicester.
All right. So now here we go again. We've got some more questions. Whereabouts are we? This one. Let's try that one. Are people sleeping on Bowen? What's your view?
Yes. And I think that we are sleeping on Bowen, but I think rightly so. I don't think Bowen, I mean, first match against City, you can easily wait and see with Bowen. And he's priced 0.5 million more than the 8 million crowd. But I think that's for a reason. And who did they recently sign? Amun. Me too, Amun. I'm ready for Gabriel. Four Gabriels, including me.
So who did the sign? Yes, but he's not going to start. He's going to sit and watch.
In the first,
I forget his name.
I'll bring it up right now. In the first game week, he is going to sit and watch. But it was a great signing. I love this player. I don't know why I'm blanking.
Absolutely. Yeah. Perisic and Ramsdale. This is for you, Gabe. Perisic and Ramsdale or Lloris and Gabriel. So I think you've gone Lloris and Gabriel.
I made my decision. If Perisic if I knew he would start, then I would go Perisic and Ramsdale.
Fair enough. And he's tipsy. He's hogging the chat. That's all right. That's good. Nothing wrong with being drunk on the first day of FPL this season, right? So, okay. What else?
Kevin has a question that he asked before, and I guess we missed it.
Okay. No, we said that.
Oh, is this the one? This one you just posted.
KDH.
Okay,
we got that one out of the way.
Okay.
What else have we got? We got any more? We really need somebody else to start filtering these questions out. We've got so many people in today.
We've never been so busy, and so thanks for keeping us busy.
So any more? We'll just do a couple more, and then I think we'll let go, and we'll let the people go and have a tinker again. So Walker and Neto, or James and Andreas. So Grande Mundo.
James and Andreas.
Yes.
Easy for me.
Yeah.
Assuming, I don't know. He might have to, unless he.
That's a good shout.
Podence. That's a
Podencio.
Yes.
Podencio.
Yeah, I like it. Nice one, Roberto.
I quite like that. Well, good one, Roberto. I quite like that. Yeah. It's not too bad at all. We've also got a few more here. Gross. Don't know. Visser. Well, I quite like. Visser was quite. I was quite hot on Visser at the start of the season. I've cooled now. Carvalho, Ilanga.
Yeah.
I got laughed at yesterday for asking a question about Ilanga or Rashford. Shows how little I know about Manchester United anyway. Almiron. Almiron.
I like that shout, actually. Almiron. Almiron.
Almiron. You like him, do you?
Wow, that's impressive. That's good. Yeah, I did like that shout.
Simba Capurura. Oh, my God.
Capurura.
Oh, fuck. I've just destroyed your name. You'll never come back. He has 0.5 million in the bank. Should I change Sanchez to Mount? Sancho to Mount, Mahrez or Grealish, or just keep the 0.5? Already got 3 Liverpool players, so I can't have Diaz.
Is Sancho injured?
I don't know. I think he was fit. I don't think he's injured. Be interesting to see how they do, really. It's just a shame Martial's injured, right? I think that's a bit of a blow for them. They were looking quite good in pre-season.
I would upgrade. I would not.
Yeah.
Just not comfortable. I'm not comfortable with Manchester United just yet.
Please donate to get Gabe's internet speed up, by the way. That's what we need to do. Fire Talk, how do we get away from Bailey after game week 2? Well, you can always bench him.
Aronson. Look at Aronson's run. Yeah. That's where I'm going.
Nehal, best 5 to choose: Trippier, Walker, and Cash or Dean. I quite like Trippier, but I just don't like their match. I still have that niggling doubt about the defense. I think it is going to improve, but you know me, I tend to think about the numbers a bit more than most. So I don't like Walker. I mean, I might be proven wrong about Walker, but I don't necessarily like it. God, crack him. Am I going back to Luca Dean again?
I think so. I think
I am, aren't I?
I would go Dean. Just trust Villa more than Newcastle so far.
This is a good question.
Perisic and Alisson versus Robertson and Ward. Ouch.
Yeah. You can see this is the sort of question that actually where I could have been similar sort of. Yep. Ward, you know, could jump to Ward. That would have brought Robertson into my team instead of Alisson, right? But I'm not 100% convinced. And that's why I've stayed away from it. Donation for Gabe's internet. You've got a donation from Nehal for $2. We need to start your internet out, Gabe.
Somehow it still hasn't improved, but
people say I don't think I'll ever get Dean again. I don't think I will, mate, if I'm honest with you.
That.
But all right, we've got any more? And then I think what we'll do, should we do 5 more minutes? Let's do 5 more minutes. We'll finish. So I'm on. Hi, guys. I want to triple up on City attack and currently have De Bruyne and Alvarez probably coming off the bench at right wing. Should I pick Foden or Mahrez? Foden for me. No. Oh, Mahrez is just...
Foden for me too.
He just makes me puke, just the thought of it. For people who don't know, he cost me my top 100 finish last year. Ah, God, what a disaster. Anyway, is Cancelo a concern at his price if he continues to play on the left versus his preferred right? That is an interesting question, Mr. Coach.
Great
Probably
question,
he is, isn't he?
Yes, 100%. Not worth $7 million if he's playing on the left. It's basically clean sheets. You can get clean sheets with Ake for $2 million less.
Here we go. We got what's the cat pick for the 5 million question? But what's that one?
Yes. Now, what's the cat pick on the 5 defenders?
Who do you reckon? I think you said Trippier.
I think you said Perisic. S1 is cracking me up. I love S1 in the chat right now. That Grimsby shirt on the hanger keeps freaking me out. It does look weird. It looks like that's some weird kind of robot. It's got a head.
It's my light.
It's the ring light. It's the ring light.
Yeah, it's the ring light. Yeah, it's like that. The other one this side is Barton Town Old Boys, where I come from. So yeah. So I got one of the, I got one. My cousin sent me a shirt. He says, "Oh, I'll send you a shirt." So that's lovely. I'll wear it for a show. And of course, it's about 3 sizes too small. Right. Which pair do we like? Neto and Sancho or Kulu and Bailey?
Kulu and Bailey.
Yes, I agree.
Kulu and Bailey.
Okay.
Let's see.
Neto or Aronson? One final one. Oh my.
If you have to start him right away, I go Neto.
I agree.
If you have to start him Gameweek 1.
The cat knows going. So the cat says Pulisic.
That's awesome.
Well done.
That's great, Andy.
Well done, Andy.
Nice.
I like that one. I like that one. Couple more. Rashford and Reece James or Sancho and a 5 million defender. Rashford, I think. I think I would go there. Rashford and Reece James for me. Would you go the other way?
Yeah. No, I would go someone other than Rashford and Reece James.
Yeah, I just think Reece James is. I think Reece James is a really, really solid pick. Actually, I'm quite hot on Reece James, so I think that swings me that way. It's almost like maybe 2 gambles against a little bit more 2 gamble-ish rather than 1 gamble there with Rashford, in a sense. Oh my God! What else have we got here now? Here we go. Right. Oh, hang on, but oops, what's happening? Let me press this one. Perisic and Raya or Ramsdale and Dean. So I've got so lots of last minute questions, eh? Perisic and Raya.
This is Pharmacist. He's a great guy. We interact with him on.
Yes. What do you reckon? You've gone again.
Easy.
You've frozen again.
Perisic won't start.
You need to. Do we need to wind the little man up and get you wound up again because you keep stopping? Of all the nights for it not to work, it's tonight. It's frozen again. My God. Right. Okay. Let's have a quick look. Whilst he's waking up, have we got any more? We wants to. Sankal just want to wish us both the best for the season. I would like to wish you all the best for the season. I think that's the most important thing. We've got Lewis, who is torn between Mount and Saka. I wouldn't be torn too much. I would go Saka if it was me.
Am I back?
You're back. Is Sterling worth 2 million over Mount? Okay. No, not yet. Maybe in time. I think my wife's got Sterling in her team.
He will be, I think.
Yeah. Kulusevski or Foden or Mount? Going no Spurs and Haaland up top. Whoa. Well, if you're going no Spurs at all with Haaland up top, if you ask me, I would go Kulusevski and then I'd move. Then I'd swing it and switch it. Gabe's still locked out. His internet's completely dead. Right, so Nehal's locked. Here's Nehal's team reveal, Gabe. We're going to tear Nehal's team. Ramsdale, Trent, Cancelo, Robbo, James, Trippier, probably. Tripper, Salah, Bailey, Martinelli. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Salah, Bailey, Martinelli, Jesus, Haaland, bench, Iverson, Neto on the bench, Andreas and Archer. Bit more money on the bench. Is that a benching headache I see? Is that a benching headache I sense? Maybe not.
Just am I in now? Am I working?
Yeah, you're in. Yeah, you're still here. You've been here for a while.
So one thing I'll say for Nehal is, and I had this Bailey and Neto in a previous draft, but they don't rotate well. Bailey and Neto, you want them, so I would maybe downgrade.
Yeah, I think we're going to call it a day. Yeah, I think we're going to call it a day, Gabe. The bloody internet's playing up. It's a complete ball. But anyway, not to worry. Guys,
sorry.
What can we say? We just want to wish you all the best. We hope that you get some nice green arrows. Hopefully, I wake up in the morning and I don't find that Gabriel's been sent off, which is most important, I think. I would love to have a nice Arsenal clean sheet. I think that'll do us. Gabe, thank you very much. I hope you can still hear me. Yeah.
Sorry for all the troubles, everyone.
No worry, it's fine. It's life, isn't it? It's life. It's shit happens, right? We can't do a lot about it, guys. All the very best. Catch us in the Discord if you're a member. If you're not a member, do come and join us in the Discord. You can join us by the link in the link below. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the bell for more. We'll be back next week, Gabe, with the traditional show. But in the meantime, I think what we'll do is we'll go and have a lie down in a darkened room and hopefully not do any more tinkering. I think we're done.
1 hour till deadline. Go get those gray arrows.
Oh, and by the way, save your team and check your captaincy. Last thing Mariner's going to say. Till the next time, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.